Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are back with Star Wars Collector's Spotlight. I am here with Andy Talaga, who barely needs any introduction already. But, Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, so most people may or may not know this, but let's start off with where you hail from.
I'm originally from the Philadelphia area.
And what do you primarily collect?
Everything basically, but
Primarily.
these days mostly I'm trying to finish up a misprint, miscut, ink error, general oddities premiere set.
Premiere specifically oddity set.
Specifically premiere. I'll pick up some other ones from other sets, like if they're really cool or something, but mostly just laser focused on premiere.
And for those who don't know, how did your collecting journey start?
Um, let's see. I was primarily a player back in the 90s. I took a break from Star Wars CCG for quite a number of years, was just like playing competitive Magic for like 20 years. And then right around like the end of 2019, just into the beginning of pandemic, I kind of came back into Star Wars CCG. Originally, probably this story rings true for like a lot of people. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get like one of like all the black border cards. Like it's something from my childhood. I really just want to kind of have them. And then I was like, well, I got all the black border cards. Might as well get the foils and the AIs and the white border cards and then the Japanese cards. And then I was like, well, if I've got all this stuff, like, why don't I get like all the posters and all the binders and all the shirts and all the sell sheets and all the marketing material and all the boxes. And then I got a sealed collection. So I got all the packs and I got one of every box and I got one of everything. And then, it just kind of
Yeah.
continued on and on and on. And so, yeah, I'm really just kind of a product of COVID and kind of stuck through it for the last 3 years or so.
Do you collect any non Star Wars things?
Lots of stuff. It's
What
crazy.
what are your just high level? What are some of the other non Star Wars things you collect?
So, as far as cards go, I have a complete collection of Spoils card game. I have collections for Versus System card game, WoW TCG, Guardians, lots of just random dead CCGs, Doomtown, Legend of the Burning Sands, et cetera, Middle Earth. So it was like that's like CCG stuff. Non-sport, I did like a bunch of like Marvel Universe, Marvel Masterpieces. I kind of slowed down on some of that. I didn't really like the Marvel Masterpieces 2020 set, and they skipped 2022 for some reason, and they haven't announced anything for 2024. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I did like vintage top stuff for Star Wars, and then other than that, I have like a massive collection of role playing game stuff that I've just literally probably never going to play because it's so hard to get a group of people together to play a role playing game. Comic.
Any like non card Star Wars collections, like not card related?
So I have literally every supplement for all the Star Wars RPGs. So West End Games, Wizards of the Coast D20, Saga Edition, Fantasy Flight Games,
Oh wow.
all of the adventure journals that are like super hard to find, all the Star Wars gamer magazines. Like I have a, and then I have like a book collection, like the fiction books. I don't really like the fiction books that much. They're just not really well written. I think like I'd rather read something that's like better written book. But I still have them all because I just love Star Wars. So I have like close to every nonfiction book, especially everything from like Legacy or like whatever Legends era, and then like all the art books and source material, like reference books, because in my grand scheme of life, at some point I'll be able to put together like a Star Wars role playing game, and so I have like all these like reference books I can go in and like look at like what does this cost? Like I bought like a $1,000 book about like the costumes used in episode one. It's like a limited edition. There's like 500 of them. It's this book. It's like 2.5 feet tall. It's
Oh my god.
yeah. So like I have like a huge Star Wars book and like role playing game collection, and then I just have like tons of other just role-playing games, comic books, all sorts of
That's
just
crazy. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how emotionally invested are you into your collection?
pretty emotionally invested. I just today, as of this recording, it's the end of May, am assembling a $2,500 display cabinet to display my seal collection. So I would say it's probably a 10.
This is probably a 10. So you're not somebody who's like, "Ah, I'll keep it for a while, then I'll sell it when."
No, this is there's no intention of ever getting rid of it. When I die, my wife and son can figure out what to do with it.
You'll
No,
be buried with it.
maybe they'll bury it with me. I'll be like one of the like Egyptian pharaohs and just like I'll have a tomb of Star Wars CCG.
And what is your current collecting goal? I mean, I know you kind of hit on misprints a little bit, but what is your like immediate goal, short term, and then longer term goal? What does that look like?
So my immediate goals, honestly, I don't really have any because I'm basically done with the collection. There's almost nothing left for me to get. I had spent the first part of this year assembling decks in for live play. So I put together decks for every format: Premiere, Premiere New Hope, Premiere Hoth, Premiere Dagobah, Premiere Cloud City, Premiere Jaws Palace, Premiere Special Edition, Premiere Endor, Premiere Death Star 2, Premiere Reflections 2, Classic No V. I have 6 Legacy V decks, 3 scavenger decks for each side, and this is for both sides. So I put together 4 cubes and some other stuff. So all said and done, I have maybe like 40 or so Star Wars CCG decks all built. There's no duplication across cards. So there's like, I don't know, 26 Emperors or something across all of this stuff.
So
Um,
are you worried that like with all the virtual play and stuff, like will there just be less and less of a need to have physical cards to play with?
I don't think I'll ever play with any of these. They're just going to sit in deck boxes.
But just so you like have them to play, or is it with the like idea that you can find people and have ready-made decks and be
I
like, let's play this?
I don't think. I mean, I know people in the Philadelphia area, New Jersey, Delaware, New York to DC greater area that play, and I could, in a pinch, arrange something to go play with somebody, but like that's just not gonna happen. Like I'd have to like take a weekend day probably. My wife's gonna spend the whole day with my son. Like weekends are for families, so like it's just never really gonna come up where I think that I'll probably actually play. It's more just I want it to have it. So
Okay.
yeah, they're just gonna sit in deck boxes probably. I do all my playing online anyway on Gem. So
Okay. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and then if there's
is
time,
this
I
like
do want to
rapid
pick your
fire?
brain on one more thing. What?
Is this like rapid fire?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, all
Don't
right,
spend too much time on these.
all
All right.
right.
So what is your all-time favorite Star Wars movie and why?
All-time favorite one is going to be Empire. It's just the best of them. Bad guys win.
Bad guys win. Who's your favorite Jedi, and what qualities make them stand out for you?
My favorite Jedi is going to be original trilogy Obi-Wan, just because he's great.
Just
That's
because.
it. Just because he's really the only Jedi other than Yoda. Like I don't really, like, I'll say I really just don't like episode like prequel stuff. They're pretty terrible movies. I really hated the sequels. I thought that they were complete garbage. So I really just do original trilogy. So you get to choose between Yoda and Obi Wan, and come on, like who's really choosing Yoda there?
Which lightsaber color would you choose for yourself, and why?
Well, I own 2 lightsabers that have 256 color choice, so I can just choose any color that I want. But if I had to choose one within Star Wars canon, probably just uh, we'll go with blue, but I kind of really want a red one.
Yeah, I figured. Like, there's red in there. So maybe a purple one.
Nah, that's dumb.
No.
Both lightsabers are dumb.
Okay. What is your favorite starship in the Star Wars universe, and what appeals to you about it?
I really like executor or executor, however you say it. I say executor. Some people say executor.
I I go. You could do both. I think I've heard it
My
before.
starship of choice. I love it. It's gigantic. It just shows the might of the empire.
Okay, I agree. It is very badass, and it's a horizontal card. If you could have any force power, which one would you choose, and how would you use it?
Man, these are great questions. Let's say I would probably just choose like whenever you play like a Star Wars role playing game, like on a console, like Knights of the Republic or something, like Force Lightning or Force Healing are always the best ones. But I'm gonna choose probably just like regular like Jedi mind trick, like
Mind control, mind manipulation. Yeah.
rank the droids you're looking for, and just like go into like a supermarket and be like, I don't owe you any money for my food. And they're just
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that. Which Star Wars planet would you most like to visit, and what draws you to that particular location?
probably Coruscant, just because I want to be in a city. It's a gigantic planet wide city. It looks awesome.
You gonna hang out on the upper levels, or you gonna go check out what's down below?
I'm only on the upper levels. I'm not messing around with stuff.
Who is your favorite Star Wars villain, and what makes them such a compelling character?
Darth Vader. I mean, he's my favorite character of all time. So I
There you
just
go.
love Vader. I
The
don't
great
know.
man himself.
He's
The greatest. Which droid from the Star Wars saga do you find the most endearing, and why?
most endearing. I'll say it's going to be R2D2, but I will say that there's like this like small part of me that the only thing I liked about the sequel trilogy was BB-8 giving thumbs up with a flamethrower with a thing. So
That
like
was funny.
that's endearing, but my favorite droid's R2D2.
I kind of like the part where he like bounces around the Millennium Falcon, and it clearly sounds like a beach ball or like a kickball, like being bounced on metal. Like, but it's
I,
just
I
BB-8.
forgot about that part.
It's just weird.
I just
It's just like doing, doing, doing. It's like really.
I, I mostly like blocked out what happened in the sequel trilogy
I
from
don't actually know what happened. Like, if you had to ask me to sum it up, I'd be like, I don't really know.
yeah, I only ever saw episode 9 once, and somebody told me that there was horses that were space horses that rode around on the outside of Star Destroyer, and I didn't believe them, and then
I do remember that, and I
we had to
actually don't even know how that came about.
we had
Now
to
that
like watch it again. I had to watch like that scene again, and I was like, "This is just dumb." And then they explained the movie to me because I know it's the person I went to the theater to see it with, and they had to explain what happened in that film because I had just like put a mental
yeah,
block
but
on
there,
everything.
there there were so many plot holes in that story all throughout. Like, it's gonna take decades to fill in the holes.
Yeah, space horses riding around on the outside of a Star Destroyer is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So,
Okay, what is your favorite lightsaber duel in the entire Star Wars franchise, and what makes it special?
I like the one at the end of Return of the Jedi the best. I think it's got the most impact to the story. I would say going back to my earlier question, Empire is my favorite movie. When I was growing up, Return of the Jedi was my favorite movie, and it was primarily because of that lightsaber duel. I still think that that one is just fantastic. It's well executed, looks good. Like there's a lot riding on it. I'm all about Return of the Jedi lightsaber duel.
Okay, and if you were to join either Rebel Alliance or Galactic Empire, which side would you choose, and why?
Well, if I joined the Empire, I'd probably be like somebody cleaning like trash compactors or something.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like I'm Grand Admiral Andy.
No, like one. I'm not cut out for the military lifestyle, so probably I'd end up being on the alliance, but I'd be like one of those like rebel troopers in the snow trench on Hoth, just like dying because I mean, that's like what would end up happening there.
You're just the cannon fodder.
I mean, I'd love to say I'd be some like admiral of like a fleet or something.
Who's your favorite non-human character in Star Wars, and what about them resonates with you?
Non-human.
Yeah, non-human.
Man, I like. I think my favorite like non-human character is going to be Salacious Crumb. I just think he's a goofball. That's just you know, I have a whole Salacious Crumb collection of like every card from like non-sport and all of the like gaming stuff like WotC, TCG, etc. Like a global rainbow of every Salacious Crumb card.
You're going for that?
I already have it.
You have every single Salacious Crumb card.
There's like some like random like one of ones or like one of fives. I don't do sketch cards. I hate sketch cards. I think sketch cards are absolutely
Uh,
stupid.
uh, can you see?
I
Oh,
can't see.
there you go. You have like these ones too?
I'm pretty sure I went online earlier this year between ComC and eBay and um, blowout cards forums or whatever. I just bought like I have like 150 Salacious Crumb cards or something like that.
Well, if you're
Um,
missing those, then I do have plenty of extra of those
all right,
because these are numbered to 25. So I have like four of them. I don't know. I just for some reason I got those. We're
Crumb.
getting off track though.
He's a good
What is your favorite line or quote from the Star Wars films, and why does it resonate with you?
favorite line or quote.
I'll accept small scene. Can't think of a quote per se.
Um, let's see. I really like the original ending to Jedi when Luke looks over. There's no dialogue. He just like looks over and it's like Obi and Yoda and like original like Sebastian Shaw, Anakin. That's probably my all time favorite scene in Star Wars.
Okay. If you could have a mentor from the Star Wars universe, who would you choose, and what wisdom would you seek from them?
Let's say probably still Obi Wan and probably how to like do like the Jedi mind trick really really well, so I could like shoot people. Probably
All
have
right.
them on the dark side.
I know you kind of highlighted this already, but if you had to choose, what is your favorite Star Wars spin-off or standalone film from the Disney era, and why?
From the Disney era, um, so I really like what they ended up doing with Clone Wars. I know like the first 5 seasons, technically 6 seasons, aren't really Disney, right? Seasons 1 through 5
I'll count it. It's still kind of its own thing.
are CW. Season 6 is Netflix, and then season 7. So I really like Star Wars Rebels, or Star Wars Rebels as well, but Clone Wars. They did really good job at character development. Really did not like Ahsoka Tano. She's actually probably one of my favorite characters now. Like probably a lot of people because they did really good job at character development for her. Same with Obi Wan and Anakin, and then just like the like Rex and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's a good show. There's some really clunky episodes from like early on in like the early seasons that are like this was definitely for kids. Like the planet where they go when they're like all monkey people and stuff. Like stupid. But like and like season 6, season 7, um, you that's clearly. I mean, there's still stuff that like would appeal to kids, but it's definitely for adults.
They did a fantastic job with like the like taking that seriously and getting a lot of things right, like
Yes.
for the most part. And I think most people will still go back and rave about that show. So I hear you on that one. Which Star Wars species or alien race do you find the most fascinating, and why?
So I really like huts. I think huts are really an interesting species. They're kind of weird looking, but they've got like if you go into like just like their organization, like the crime syndicates, the like Nar Shaddaa, like all that kind of stuff's pretty neat. I think.
What is your favorite lightsaber design or hilt style, and what attracts you to that design?
Regular lightsaber. I don't know what.
No, like you know how like Darth Maul's got like the dual one, Count Dooku's got like a curved hilt. I don't know. They have like slightly different variations of them. I think Anakin's had like a or Obi Wan's had like an extra little battery thing on the bottom. They just had like Luke's was very like simple, like kind of straightforward. His second one.
I like Ahsoka's lightsabers,
Mm,
the, the dual saber. It's pretty neat. They're kind
okay.
of curved. They're kind of like katana hilts or something. Like
Yeah, but The white neutral color ones. She's got
Yeah,
like a defensive saber and like an aggressive saber.
yeah, that's pretty neat. Good
Yeah.
looking screen.
If you were hired to act in the next Star Wars movie or show, what would you want your character to be like? I guess you kind of highlighted, it, but you don't have to be a Hoth Storm, a Hoth Trooper.
If I could be in
Any character in there.
any character, I want to actually just like be some like wacky, crazy alien in like a cantina, Jabba's palace type thing. Like I'm just like off the side. Like I don't need to be like a main character in the show. Like that's too much. I just want to be like some goofy looking weird alien off on the side
With like
that
a
like
mysterious backstory that like we don't
yeah,
know.
that gets like fleshed out in like some comic book something somewhere like 20 years from now. And
Okay.
like we'll have like a like Boshek or something like that, right?
Okay.
Like
Okay.
who's this guy? And then like here's like this whole like backstory about them. Yeah. But I have to be like this like weird looking alien.
Okay.
Be like a giraffe person or something.
Giraffe person. Who's your least favorite Star Wars character, and what specifically don't you like about him?
I do not like. There's so many. Okay. Geez, there's so many of them. I really hate Rose Tico. She's just the most pointless character. She ruins everything. Like, good congratulations to Kelly Marie Tran. She got into Star Wars. She's living the life that many people would want to have of being like a named character who has like dialogue and interaction with main characters. Like on a personal, like real world level, congratulations to her. Her character sucks. I hate everything about her character. I hate her character so much. Just done with character. Worst.
It's kind of a wasted role, and I don't know if it was the right
Well, I mean, that's
casting
the
for
entire
what he
sequel
should have
trilogy.
been.
Every character in the sequel trilogy is a wasted role.
Fair enough. Who's your favorite bounty hunter in the Star Wars galaxy? What qualities make them stand out?
Bounty Hunter, like original trilogy Boba Fett. Not like Book of Boba Fett, like whatever. I don't really care about him, but like OT trilogy, Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett.
In his prime.
Yeah, he's the man.
Which Star Wars moment has the most emotional impact on you, and why?
When that one Ewok dies and the other Ewok comes over, and I'm just kidding. That's not really it. That's not it at all. The most emotionally impactful moment is actually like from the sequel trilogy, which is weird to say because I hated that. But it's the moment when Ray, like at the very end, like the last like 30 seconds of the film, where she like shows up and like Luke turns around and you're like, holy shit, that's Luke Skywalker, right? Like, um, because like when I was growing up, and I even said it in this video, like Darth Vader's my favorite character. It's like I was always like, oh, it's Darth Vader, but I think it's actually maybe Luke Skywalker, right? Like Luke's been missing. Like the last time you see Luke is at the very end of Jedi, and like he's not in that whole film at all. The most of that film is garbage, and you're just like, oh wow, that's Luke. And it like I remember sitting in the theater. I was living in Japan. I was by myself, surrounded by a bunch of Japanese people who were reading subtitles, which the subtitles didn't really reflect what the dialogue was, which is crazy to me. But I'm sitting there and like Luke comes on the screen and it was literally like you're like seeing like Jesus or something. It was like, holy shit, that's Luke Skywalker. So I'll say that's probably the most emotionally impactful moment in Star Wars for me.
Okay.
Um, what was the next question? Sorry.
Your favorite Rebel Alliance member? What inspires you about the dedication to their cause?
So we'll go with Wedge. Wedge is just a pilot. Like he's like a great pilot, right? And he's the only one who's blown up two Death Stars. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
he's
kind of
dedicated.
male, but
Wow,
you gotta give him pass.
he's like on the like Red Squadron 1 card, like you can see all the little markings that he's like blown up, and like he has two Death Stars painted on it because he's survived both battles of the Death Stars, and
I don't think I've noticed that. That's actually really badass.
and like
That's actually super
like
badass.
there's he's literally the only. I mean, I guess Luke kind of survives the battle of the second Death Star. Like, he wasn't really like directly involved with it. He was doing his own thing. So like Wedge is really like the only person who's ever like survived an attack on two Death Stars.
Yeah, no,
And
it's
like
uh,
that's pretty sweet. So he is dedicated to taking down massive planet blowing up machines.
yeah, because technically Han Solo was on Endor during the second one, so it's part of the operation, but he wasn't in space.
Whoever was flying that other Y wing, I guess, at the end of who was that, Pops or something? No, Pops died. Tyree died.
I don't. Yeah, you see another X-wing and you see a Y-wing
Yeah,
also.
so it's the Falcon, it's Red 5, Red 2, and a Y wing. I don't remember who's on that Y wing. Probably like one of those like Bobo guys from Special Edition that doesn't do
I don't
anything.
know. That's the great mystery.
Yeah,
Okay. What Star Wars species or alien race would you want as your loyal companion, and why?
as a loyal companion,
Yeah.
I want one of those like little, well, we'll say whatever. Okay, I have two answers for this: one real one and one kind of real one. The kind of real one is like whatever the species that Yoda is, just because like Grogu's really cool. And I
Okay.
want a little Grogu, but that's not really like a thing because they're not really a species. I mean, they are species, but like you don't know anything about them.
I'll
So
count it.
I'm gonna say the little like monkey things that like rebuilt IG-88 for Grogu to sit in, whatever they're called, like the little droid tinkerers from like Mandalorian. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Babu Freaks, right?
yeah, whatever they're called. Yeah, I want one of those.
Babu Freaks.
I'm just gonna be like, hey, need to replace the shower head. Go do
And
it.
then they're like, yeah,
Do it right because they're loyal to me. So hey, car needs to get washed. Go wash the car.
that's super random. All right. Zeroing back into collecting, what is your most prized Star Wars collectible? What is your number one? And what do
Um,
you value the most? What are you most proud of? What do you most cherish?
there's so many. They're all special in their own way. But we'll say I'll have two. One is a card and one is not a card. My card one is I have the Reflections Gold Lord Vader card, right? So that one's really sweet.
Mm.
It's, and then my non card one is um, there was a mobile game that was out in like the mid 2010s, like 2015, 2016 era, called Star Wars Uprising. It was a mobile RPG game where you'd like run around and do missions and stuff. The game itself was pretty terrible, but the art design on it was phenomenal. There's like some really fantastic sci-fi artists that did a lot of concept work for the game,
Okay.
and the studio that put the game out had these like art of Star Wars Uprising books put together that compiles like all of the concept art, which is like they didn't use all of it, but it's like really unique Star Wars concept art because it's not like stuff that like Lucasfilm did for like the movies and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and there were 10 of these books made and given out to executives at Kabam Industries, which is the company that put out the game. And one of them came up for sale last year, like first time ever. So I bought it so I could have a complete art of Star Wars collection. So I have like every art book and concept art book and stuff. So that's pretty sweet.
Wow, that is pretty awesome. And if you could have any one collectible item for Star Wars, what would it be? Like, even if it doesn't exist, like, what would be your grail?
So there's a company that produces really high end toys, 6 scale figures. So they're like 12-inch tall figures called Hot Toys. They're based out of Hong Kong, and they in the U.S. their main distributor Sideshow Collectibles, but in they put out like extremely detailed um, basically like gigantic action figures, but they're like $400 a piece. I sold the ones that I had just because they took a ton of room and I didn't have any space for them. But Hot Toys for a one-time like trade show Hong Kong Toy Expo, they built a sixth scale Millennium Falcon, which is huge. It's probably like, I mean, it's like intricately like detailed out because you can get like, one of the great things about the internet is you have like nerds who like make the like fine blueprints of like spaceships and stuff, and they like took it and actually made a like action figure size, like 12-inch scale Millennium Falcon that's like
Oh my god.
18, that's like 24 feet by like 18 feet. It would take up like a whole floor of my house. I really want to get that Millennium Falcon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, talk about like the ultimate play set. Um,
Holy moly. That's
that's
got to be like in a museum or something. I mean, how do you even
it's
move
in
that?
storage in Hong Kong somewhere. They only displayed it once ever.
Oh my god. Okay. Wow. And what is your biggest regret from your collecting journey?
Biggest regret. Um, I will say I had at the beginning of the pandemic, I I had basically four choices in front of me. I could sell a bunch of stuff and take about, at the time, this was like early March 2020, take like 50-ish thousand dollars and buy something, right? And so I was thinking of either buying like a Michael Jordan rookie card, a 1951 Mickey Mantle, an Amazing Fantasy 15, which is first appearance of Spider-Man, or a complete on card Star Wars Kenner action figure collection. Um, Ultimately, I chose to do none of those things and just like took the money and did other stuff with it. But I think any one of those would have been like a phenomenal investment 2, 3 years down the road. Um, so I kind of regret. I mean, I can't really say that I had a lot of fun collecting Star Wars and other CCGs and doing other things with my money and investing it in the house and doing stuff with my family and trips and stuff like that. So like I can't say that I regret that stuff, but I kind of regret being like, well, I probably could have really made a killing buying like a 1951 Mickey Mantle, grading it and reselling it for like a lot of money. The other regret I'll say that I have, which is kind of collecting, was I guess there was a fifth choice, because by the time I had like got all my money together to do this was right when the like GameStop stuff was going on with like Wall Street bets, and I had a friend that was like, "Dude, you should do totally do this." And I was like, "Nah, it looks super risky. Like, I don't want to." And he put like 30 grand into like GameStop and like cashed out like a couple $1,000,000. And I'm like, damn, I should have done that. Really
Oh,
should have done that. So I'll say
wow.
that.
He's like deuces. I'm retired now.
Yeah, he just like spends his time like selling comic books on Instagram now. Like, nah,
Wow.
probably should have done that. That's probably,
Well, how would anybody really know? But
yeah, that could have easily backfired, and my wife would have killed me.
so my final question to you, and I kind of asked before we had hopped in, but what is it that you want other collectors to know about what you collect and what you want them to look out for and what you're seeking that they can help you with?
Sure. So there's a couple things for the overall collection. I'm really close to having pretty much everything. So if you look at, say, like the collecting encyclopedia that the PC puts out, I basically have one of everything in there. There's a couple of things that I'm missing that even the collecting encyclopedia is missing. So I still need a Dagobah limited cell sheet, a first edition, or sorry, first anthology cell sheet. I need a Canadian Provincials 2000 runner up binder. I think that's actually, and then I need the Takara Tomy Japanese Player's Guide. Those are the last four things that I need for a complete Star Wars CCG collection. I don't really do uncut sheets. I hate uncut sheets. They take up so much space. They're hard to display. You can't really do anything with them. You can't really look at them.
Well, you could frame them, but they are
The
expensive to frame.
wall, well,
A
I
lot
don't
of wall
know.
space.
I mean, the wall real estate I don't have, like, to,
Yeah.
because you need rares, commons, uncommons, and then there's like variations on them. So like Reflections one has like sheets that have Luke or have Vader, and the ones that don't have Luke and don't. And you're just suddenly you're like,
Mhm.
I would need like 50 uncut sheets. Like, where the hell am I going to put these? Right.
We're just
So
gonna sit in tubes somewhere.
they're going to fit in tubes. So I don't really worry about uncut sheets. So I need those four things. They're basically impossible to find. If they ever come up on the market, I will be going for them. But other than that, any Reflections gold cards, I have 27 of them. And
I know somebody who has another one. It's not me. But are you just like looking to see like every day if one pops up on eBay or something?
well, the last ones that went on market were in October of 2021. So 2 years ago almost was the last time they were sold. I bought them. I bought every one that's ever come up for sale in the last 3.5 years. So
How do you put a value on something like that now, though? I mean, they're kind of priceless. They're prototypes, right?
most of the like random red cards that are like combo cards or ones without text or something, I was I was buying them about between like $400 and $500 a piece. Um, Named characters. I got Vader, Obi, and Yoda. I think was 4 grand for the three, and then Luke was a grand by himself, and so something around there.
Okay.
And then other than that, which those just never come up. None of the stuff that I'm looking for ever comes up for sale, which is why I said earlier, like my collection's pretty much complete because I mean those things are just never going to come onto the market. So just random Star Wars premiere miscuts, oddities, ink errors.
Well, maybe somebody who's listening to this will hear this and be like, "Oh, that's what I have sitting in my closet that I don't ever look at."
I
Never know.
highly doubt that, but you never know.
You never know. Anyways, this has been awesome. Thank you for your time.
All right, later.